Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special CADS podcast. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight. We've had a few interviews recently, but this time we're having an interview about an important match that's about to come up with someone who knows an awful lot more about this topic than I can. So can everybody just welcome Kjetil to the show? There's your moment. Everyone's now welcoming you. Hey, Kjetil, how you doing?
Yeah. Hi there. Yeah, let's do this. We'll talk about the upcoming very exciting match with a really cool Norwegian team, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, they are really interesting. I mean, before we go any further, because we are going to talk a fair bit about Bodø Glimt, I hope that's said correctly. But before we go any further, could you just introduce yourself and let everybody know where they can find you?
Well, yeah, my name is Kjetil. I am close to 50 years old. Been a Tottenham fan for like 36 years or something. Uh, Started out 1989 with well, it was of course Gassa and Lineker that
Hmm.
made me be a Spurs fan, and then I realized Erik Thorstvedt also was there, Norwegian good old
Yeah.
goalkeeper. So yeah, of course, I just had to be there and been there ever since.
So we went from Torsvet, and then we had another goalkeeper, Bodsen,
Yeah,
who did not
Bolson,
have
yeah.
quite the same level of impact at the club, unfortunately.
No, and we even had for half a year another goalkeeper, Frode Grodås, on our
Yeah, that's
books,
right. Yeah.
but he got absolutely right in 0 minutes. So
Yeah.
he was just a backup. Yeah,
Yeah, which is kind of fair enough at the time. We've had a
yeah,
fair few Norwegian and Scandinavian players through the club, which is, I think, it's always one of those things I look for because they're always very reliable players. Nobody seems to come in and be completely useless, which is great. I mean, problem is I'm French. I'm French and English, but we've had a number of completely wasteful French players coming through the club, and it's not been quite so good. Not been quite
yeah,
so good for me. But yeah, Norwegians, Scandinavian, Swedish. Obviously, we've got our Swedish dynamos at the club right now. They generally come in and leave having made a good impression.
yeah. And we have before the Swedes, we had some Danish, and before the
Yeah,
Danish, we had some Norwegians. So it's been the eras there. Yeah,
yeah. Stefan Everson springs to mind. Who?
Stefan Iversen, yeah, and we
Yeah,
had Øyvind Leonardsen. That's one of my
yeah.
favorites. Yeah, and quite a few others. Roger Nilsen was there, left back,
Hmm.
and I even talked to a couple of them, so I should remember the rest of them, but they don't spring to mind right now.
No, fair enough. In terms
Yeah.
of Danish, we've got Alan Nielsen is a member of the forum, but when I say a member, he is literally just a member, has never been cited. He's never said a word, has never spoken. I don't even know if he logs in to see if we're talking about him. We're not. Sorry, Alan. But it was that goal, which we should probably talk about more often. But yeah, we're here to talk about Bodø Glimt. I'm trying very hard to make sure I say that correctly. Could you say it for me, just to make sure that everyone knows how to say it properly?
Oh, you're very close. It's Bodø Glimt, so you're very close.
Bodø Glimt. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
The
So
thing I will say
this,
very first is that
yeah,
we don't talk about Bodø Glimt players or Bodø players. We just talk about Glimt and Glimt
Glimt.
players. So,
Yeah,
so
because
it's
that is
just
their
we just
nickname,
use
right?
their nickname. They're handled. It's
Yeah.
a part of the name, but also the nickname. So I think we'll mostly talk about Glimt players for my part. Yeah.
Hmm. And the reason why they're Bodø Glimt and not just Glimt is because there was another club that had the nickname or the name Glimt, right? So,
It was something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah,
Okay.
probably.
So, I mean, I'm just looking through their results here. They've got some very impressive results, and their their form at home is quite scary. Beaten Lazio. Uh, yeah. Lazio, who else? Anytime they've played in
They
Europe.
they had their famous 6-1 against Mourinho's Roma
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was a real thrashing. Yeah.
And then Ange Postecoglou, of course, has history with them as well, because when he was at Celtic,
Yeah.
Bodø Glimt beat them home and away, which was
Hmm.
maybe not a great a great sign of what might be to come. But hopefully, we're going to have a better result this time round. So, can you tell us a little bit about the side?
Well, the club as so they have before 2019, 2020,
Hmm.
they had actually just two domestic cup wins. They never won a league uh, title before that, and they actually was as late as 2016 they were relegated to the second
Yeah.
division, and then they were promoted again in 2017. Then with the now manager Kjetil Knutsen, same name as me, uh, was the assistant manager at that point with
Hmm.
Åsmund Bjørkan, former player, the manager. Uh, they actually have switched places now. So Bjørkan is now the assistant manager to Knutsen. Uh, and they won the
Don't see
first
that very
title.
often.
No, actually it's not. And then they placed themselves at silver medal, the second place in
Hmm.
2019, and in 2020 they won their first league title. So it's been a really hell of a ride. Yeah. And they won in 20, 21, 23, and 24. As you will know, as if you have checked out Norwegian football, you know that we don't play. We don't play from August to May. We play from like now in April until November. So we play on
Yeah.
the summer half of the year. Uh,
So, I
that's
mean, that means that some of your players or Bodø Glimt players were playing effectively through their winter break. Because normally we call
uh,
it summer break, but it's winter break. So
they've
some of
actually
the,
they've been playing competitive games for 13 months straight now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any
So
chance that's going to catch up with them in this one?
well, it has maybe because we'll get back to it when we go through the players and the squad and stuff
Hmm.
like that. But they have two very fresh injuries now to normally starting players. So yeah, maybe it has actually.
Okay.
And they just started the domestic league like three, four games maybe. No, it's 3 games in
Yeah.
now, and they have had a couple of injuries now. So that will affect the game, at least the first leg game where will have half their team out
Okay. So let's
almost.
quickly talk about the team. I know they're missing two fairly key midfielders through suspension, and I heard they had one injury, but I didn't know about the second one. Who's the second one?
Uh, okay, so the three suspended players are a second striker,
Hmm.
but the one that actually scored against Lazio with a
Yeah.
really good header. And then, as you say, they have two midfielders suspended. That is Håkon Evjen and Patrick Berg. Uh, Håkon Evjen is a former AZ Alkmaar player and Brøndby in Denmark. He's a
Hmm.
very experienced, very good uh, player in a role as on the I think on the left of number 6 in a three-year
Hmm.
midfield. Uh, and Patrick Berg is then, of course, the central number 6 player in that midfield. So 2 out of 3 midfielders are out suspended. Patrick Berg, he is a regular in Norway's national team squad and
Yeah.
plays has played several international games there. And he used to be a Lens player in France.
Okay.
So,
And my
uh,
understanding is he's the really big miss for them, isn't he? Because he's the
oh,
player
he
who makes things tick.
really, really, really makes things stick. And maybe most important in the build-up play from behind, from the back,
Yeah.
um, as uh, when they try to play out from the back, they will use him as the central hub for distributing the ball out or forward. So he's really, really important. And actually, we really do not know who will be there instead of him on Thursday, because I was expecting to see another player kind of groomed into that position a couple of days ago when they played
Hmm.
at home versus KFM. They had a or they chose not to use anybody else. So he played full 90 minutes this weekend. So we really don't know who they'll be putting in that position in the in London.
Okay.
So that's a big
Um,
question mark, actually.
yeah. So, I mean, it's
Well, I
quite,
have my guess, but that's
yeah,
another
I'm sure you
thing.
do.
Yeah,
It's quite
yeah.
difficult for me because a lot of people I talk to are just looking ahead to the final already. And I'm like, no, can't do that. This is not a side to be messed with. Every time I look at their record, certainly their home record, I'm just like, it's not a side that we can mess with. We cannot take these guys lightly. We need to take them seriously, and we need to make sure that we go out and do a proper professional job. Certainly in the first leg, because my feeling is if we don't get 2 or 3 goals in the first leg, it's going to be like really difficult to qualify from here. What's your feeling on that, having seen a lot more of Bodø Glimt than I have?
Well, exactly the same. Uh, if we give them a sniff of the final,
Hmm.
after the first leg, if we are only like one goal ahead, they'll 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 really feel they have a chance at home, and then they'll be hard to stop. And remember, then Patrick Berg and Evian will be back,
Yeah,
and maybe some injured players or something like that. So I think we need at least 2 goals advantage for the first leg, uh, but at the same time. Uh, I've been watching up again over again a couple of the latest matches in Europe, and they
hmm,
really have had the advantage of playing home first, because then they
yeah,
actually have the lead and they can go and really go to war to fight for it in the away games. So we have a slight advantage playing London first, because when then we can go and fight for it in the other end if we get away with a good win.
yeah. I really
Uh,
think we need that. I mean,
and
the
we
other
will,
the other advantage we've got of playing now as opposed to playing when Lazio did is the weather has warmed up a little bit, is my understanding.
yeah,
It's much more
it's
like
more
a
like
winter.
your
It's like an
regular
English
winter
winter.
game in
Yeah.
Burnley. Yeah,
Wait, it's not always worked out too well for us, but
that's why I said it. Yeah,
a cold, wet winter night in Bodø in Glimt. Yeah. Oh,
close
okay. Let's
enough.
got
Yeah,
hope for that.
yeah.
But I mean, the stadium. It's a very small stadium, right? My understanding, it's
Mhm.
tight to the pitch. It's you can hear what's going on in the crowd. Uh, is that going to give them any kind of advantage?
At least the passionate fans, and they really
Yeah,
will make themselves heard. And as I understand, we only have uh, 404 tickets or so for the away
440
game for the
tickets. Yeah,
away. Yeah. But on the other hand, this is quite a small issue for Bodø Glimt too, because UEFA regulations make sure they can't pack their stadium with that kind of passionate home fans. Uh, I think they only have of the 8,000. I think they have like six or five and a half, 6,000 of them that will be uh, actual fans. Tickets, the other one will be handed through to UEFA or something like that. I think.
hmm,
I'm not sure about details, but I think something like that. But of course, we have the artificial grass
yeah.
there. But now,
The other great leveler.
yeah, but the Tottenham players, I guess they really have trained on artificial grass now, last couple of weeks, because and as I understand, they have a couple of pitches on the training grounds. So they shouldn't be uh, that fresh on it. So I I think we'll see a very, very hard fighting team backed up by
Mhm.
their fans when we get to Bodø.
Okay. Do you know if they have a 3G pitch or a 4G pitch?
No, I don't
No,
really.
because I
No, I
mean,
don't.
we've got history, as you know, from this season when we played Tamworth playing on a 3G pitch, and that not did not go particularly well for us. But I understand the pitch in Glimt is significantly better. But also, my
Yeah,
understanding is that Glimt really make it work for them. Their passing moves and everything is really well honed on that pitch, and it
yeah,
takes a bit
yeah,
of getting used to.
absolutely. Yeah, but in that case, yeah, it's a much better pitch than Tamworth. Yeah,
Mm. I'd hope
absolutely.
so, because that
So
was a terrible, terrible pitch. It's bits
yeah,
of rubber coming up as the players were playing. Yeah, not
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah, probably.
So, what kind of players, what kind of Tottenham players do you think would be suited to this kind of pitch? I think it takes probably a more technical kind of player.
Uh, Maybe a little bit more light-footed players because
Yeah,
uh, the ball will move very quickly. It bounce very quickly. So quick, light-footed players will maybe be more suited. But at the same time, you will have to have the with the duels, the central part of the pitch. So light wingers, tough guys in the middle, but that's the general rule, isn't it? Maybe so.
yeah,
So I don't think that will matter that much actually. It'll be I think they have to just find out who actually are best suited by seeing them in training on these pitches. Maybe I don't know. Hopefully,
yeah. I get the feeling players like Bereval and Kulusevski could well feature because their technical skills are very, very good in this one. But at the
yeah,
same time, you
probably.
like James Maddison is a very good technical player at the same time. So we're going to try and fit everybody onto the pitch who can do that. This may not be a game for Pat Matassar, is all I'm feeling. Like maybe
Oh,
not the
that's
engine.
might be true. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh, I wanted to talk about a couple of the other players
go
on
for it.
Bodø because we have a couple of injuries. Uh, One of their regular centre halves, uh,
Hmm.
Odin Bjørtuft, uh, he is out. He had a groin injury now this weekend, so he'll probably be out for both games. A little bit more unsure about their wide attacker Ole Blomberg. Uh, he pulled up and out of the game a couple of weeks ago, but uh, I haven't heard anything. He didn't play this weekend, but I don't know. He might turn up for one or both of the games, so we
Yeah, that
don't
was the
know.
one I'd heard about. The white
Yeah,
player.
yeah. The defender went off just after halftime this weekend.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about the manager, Kjetil Knutsen? Because I understand Ajax were interested in him fairly recently and he turned them down to stay.
Oh, he's been linked to several clubs actually, in both
Hmm.
actually a couple of the English. He was mentioned in the Brighton discussion also, I think. Uh, so yeah, he's been linked to several clubs, a couple of Swedish also, I think. Uh, but uh, he's the kind of guy that's uh, extremely down to earth. He
Yeah.
is, uh, I think, he's military trained. So that's his education, and he is disciplined, and he focuses more than any other manager on performance over uh, points and wins. It's a saying that I think it's a saying that he in interviews never mentioned the word win. I think that's a thing. So I I'm not sure he would thrive in any environment. Uh, and I fear if he went to a Premier League club, I might I might doubt him because it's such a points and win focused league.
Yeah.
He maybe would do well in Ajax, maybe because that's a club more focused on developing players and performance than you. They will probably be one, two, three in their league anyway. So Ajax or Dutch Belgium league might suit him much better if he wants to go abroad. But I think he'll stay Bodø for a few years still. I think.
He sounds like the kind of guy who's a builder of clubs. He wants to come in and build things from the base and get everyone playing football the way he wants them to play. And that could take a little bit of time. It's not going to go in and just suddenly, boom, everything's in place. It's not going to slot
Absolutely.
into place easy.
Hmm.
I mean, if you look back over the last few years, Glimt have made steady progress and just improved and improved and improved. I mean, to the point now where they are, as my understanding, they are the dominant side in Swedish football.
Norwegian.
Yeah, no, sorry, Norwegian football. Yeah, there we go. I knew that was going to
Yeah,
happen at some point.
yeah.
Yeah,
But they are the dominant side now. There are the history has been we had Rosenborg who won
mhm.
I think like 13 years in a row in the 90s and
Yeah,
2000s. And then we've had a variation of clubs, and then few years where Molde was the best club. They also
yeah,
had a good stint in Europe. Rosenborg was the team that last made the quarterfinals uh, uh, quite a few years ago, and a couple of other clubs has done well in Europe, and Glimt has now established themselves as the really top club, and with the money they get now, they'll be hard to catch. Yeah, uh,
yeah.
but I think uh, Rosenborg are on the way up. Young local players, a good young Danish coach now. They will be striving to catch up with Bodø Glimt, so they could be at least a contender. But I think not this year. Maybe next year, something like that. Uh,
Okay, and in terms of money, I mean, there is not a huge amount of money floating around in Norwegian football. I mean, my understanding is Sonny's wages are more than the wages of the entire Glimt side per year,
yeah, probably. Yeah,
about
true.
6 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, that could be true. Yeah, I think a couple of players who are pretty well in Bodø Glimt, but
Mhm.
yeah, maybe that could be true. And that's and I think it's like 40, 50 million pounds or something that we'll get out of this Europa
Oh yeah,
Cup run. So they'll have like 10 times more money than the next club to go find new players, because what also will happen now is of course that a couple of their best players will end up abroad now after this during the summer.
yeah.
At least two or three of them I can think of that will probably stepped up. Uh, but then they have the money to go and buy the best players from the other Norwegian clubs, and that'll both strengthen Bodø Glimt again, and then they also will probably then weaken the other Norwegian clubs. To that feels
Which
like they have
helps.
to sell a bit of,
If you
yeah.
can do that, that's
So
great.
so so they'll yeah they'll still be the dominant team at least for a few years now up ahead, I think.
And I heard there was one player who previously played for Glimt, went to AC Milan, didn't really make an impact, and is now back at Glimt with some
Yeah,
more experience
by
behind
the
him.
way of actually Frankfurt.
By the
That's
way, Frankfurt. Yeah,
yeah, that's Jens Petter Hauge. Yeah, he
that's right.
was around that. He went to Milan after they won against Milan,
Mhm.
and then he was Frankfurt and somewhere in Belgium, I think. I don't remember the right club, but at some point he was there, and then he came back to Glimt. Uh, and there's quite a few other players that also has been outside Norway. Like I think there's Fredrik Bjørkan, one of the defenders. He's been at Hertha
Hmm.
Berlin, I think, and Feyenoord, and yeah, at least them, and a couple of more.
Yeah.
I can't remember right now.
And there's
Uh,
plenty of speculation around players potentially leaving. I know the goalkeeper's been linked to several clubs.
yeah, he's a really good goalkeeper. I think he's not quite as good as he has been made up to
Hmm.
be for the long run. But of course he's had the game of his life for a couple of games now. So of course, but he is a good keeper. Yeah.
He was superb against Lazio because I was watching that game and he was
Oh
just
yeah,
excellent.
he
And the
was.
penalty
Yeah.
shoot, I mean, he looked thoroughly unconventional, but also effective at what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a good goalkeeper, of course. But we'll see. I think he'll go maybe a French club or something like that. Will pick him up. Uh, and the other one that I think will go somewhere in Europe, maybe
Hmm.
Germany, England, is a striker, Kasper Høeg, uh,
Okay.
Danish player. Uh, he's a very strong, tall player, very good aerial abilities,
Hmm.
and he's now I think it's like 7 goals in Europe up to now, and for Tottenham, that is really the guy we need to look up for.
Yeah.
He can really he's a powerhouse. So he can if if Romero and Van de Ven is not on their toes, if they're not there, they'll have trouble containing him in, and we'll have hands full at the set pieces and corners.
Hmm.
So we have to look out for him. Uh,
Okay. So I warn you now, I'm going to be asking you very soon for a prediction on what's going to happen. But until then, could you just tell us a little bit about their style? Because I've seen conflicting reports. Some people tell me they are a front foot pressing team that don't give you time and space on the ball, and others tell me that they sit back and spoil and hold the line and play low block and take advantage of free kicks and everything like that. What kind of team are they, or are they just so good that they can do everything?
uh, they are a different setup home and away in Europe, it seems like. When they play at home, they play a straight 4-3-3, more or
Okay.
less the same as Spurs do, but they do not, as far as I know, invert their wingbacks. The wingbacks will be the wide players.
Neither
Uh,
do we recently.
no, we need it, but
Yeah.
that's the main idea then from basic handball, right?
Mm.
So so they have wingbacks that run wide,
Okay.
and the wingers or wide attackers that more press inside to crowd the in front of goal.
Hmm.
But as I saw, I looked a little bit more at how they did against not just Lazio, but I looked at the game they played a few months ago against Manchester United at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Then they set up with a 4-1-4-1 uh, formation with low blocks, but very, very narrow. So what happened in especially second half of that game, uh, Manchester United got a lot of joy out wide on the wings and
Mm.
to send the ball into the area. So what we have to do is utilize those wide areas. I guess they will set up very, very defensively this time, at least from the
Yeah.
start. Uh, and narrow. They will crowd the area, so Solanke will not have an easy game. but he might have a better game, and the attackers will have a better game if we can stretch them. So we have to ask those questions to make sure right and left backs are stretched out, so that there will be open areas in and around their
Sounds like
goal
Solanke's
area.
going to
Yeah,
need some support. So Berreval and Bentancur might be very useful to us in this game.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And just one more thing, because what I thought about is Romero will maybe be the one key player for us actually in this game, because as I talked about Kasper
Their
Høeg,
main guy.
their
Yeah.
main guy, main attacker, he loves to drop a little deep, catch up the ball, and place it out wide for their wide players to run on. A little bit Kane-ish, you know. Uh, and if Romero can be aggressive enough in uh, to make sure he doesn't control the ball and can turn around and and send the other players running, then that'll be I think a key duel in this match.
So that's the key matchup we need to look for during the game to see whether or
I
not they're
I
getting
think
any
so.
joy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't think Cristiano Romero is often accused of lacking aggression. So hopefully it will be okay.
I think that if he has a good day, but he's not have all of those lately. So
Yeah. Okay. So the time has come. I'm going to ask you to give us your prediction for home and away and whether or not Spurs go through.
okay, I think we'll go through in the end, and that's the first answer, and
Yeah.
that's due to the missing players in the first leg. I think we'll really get a good uh, lead going into the
Mhm.
second, and I think uh, if you want the exact prediction, I'll say something like.
No, I'm not asking for exact goal scores.
But I think
Have been a
we'll
betting
have a
man, but not right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
but two or three goals advantage. I think we'll take with us to Bodø,
that's what I think we need.
and I think we'll uh, maybe go with a draw or a one goal loss in Bodø,
Okay, perfect.
and then more or less scrap through.
Nothing worse than a one goal loss and a free goal advantage at the start. That will be fine. That will work for me. I'll take that quite happily. All right.
Yeah,
Well, Kjetil, thank you very, very much for joining us. For anyone that's interested, please look him up. He's over on Bluesky, Spurs of Norway. It's spursofnorway.bsky.social. Thank you very, very much for joining us. And let's hope that everything works out the way both you and I are hoping for, because this is
absolutely,
a big
Stuart.
one.
Yeah.
This is what our season rests on, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us again, Kjetil, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.